Hi, everybody, and fingers crossed this stream stays. I apologize for the technical hiccup. It did cut me off there. So, the good news is that this stream will be available to everybody on my channel as soon as it's done processing, and hopefully, people can find it. As I think that it should notify people that I'm starting a live stream. But I will go ahead and get started with the official AcWriMo kickoff. If you are joining me live and you'd like to say hi in the chat, I'm here and I have the kind of brain that can look at both at the same time. So feel free to use that chat during the live session to ask any questions. And again, I am so sorry for the technical hiccup. But welcome, welcome, welcome. It is officially November 1st, 2023, as I am recording this. The weather is cold, the cats are snuggled up. I have 3 beverages on my desk, so I'm ready and excited to kick off this month of resources support for your academic writing. A quick little ditty about where this started from. This is the 5th year that I have done some sort of programming for AcWriMo. AcWriMo is not my idea originally. It has been around for about a decade at this point, but the idea was to build off of National Novel Writing Month, or NaNoWriMo, which is a popular writing challenge where people gather and try and write, I think it's like 10,000 words, or the draft of a novel in 1 month. And lots of academics were like, I would love to do a writing sprint. But it can be a little bit difficult because for so many of us, the writing process isn't just sort of like sit down and offload your brain onto the paper. There's a lot of research and steps. So it is my goal with my AcWriMo programming to be as flexible and inclusive as I possibly can. So I really encourage people to, and we'll talk about this in just a second, set goals that feel exciting and sustainable. And it's that combination of both, like, I'm excited to try something hard, and I also don't think that this will like completely bankrupt me, mind, body, energy, and spirit. Seems to be a good zone for people. So the first step is to make sure that you are signed up for AcWriMo. The link will be in all of my social media channels. It is thrive-phd /AcWriMo. The link is lots of places. Please do sign up. This year is particularly special because not only are there things like this webinar, but there are also weekly resource emails with all sorts of things that can help support your writing. And I'm really excited to share that I have gotten a list of like 10 or 15 different people who have all agreed to contribute things to the month as well. So there will be free co-working sessions, a webinar about journaling, things about outlining, link roundup emails, all kinds of guides and bonuses, all for free for you. So make sure that you are signed up for the emails. I think that there will be pretty much something in your inbox most days this month. So enjoy that. But if you're here for the kickoff, I would love for us to do a little bit of a goal setting exercise. So there is a workbook that goes along with AcWriMo, and hopefully you received that when you signed up. It's also in the kickoff email that you got this morning in case you want to do it. I'm not going to go through that step by step because you're all smart, scholarly people, and I know that you can read, but I would love to kind of go through some extra prompts that might be useful as you plan this month. So the first one is to think about your goals in terms of what you want to accomplish this month. Now, I don't know about you, but just yesterday, I was explaining to my therapist that I am never more self-confident and self-congratulatory. I never believe more in the power of what I can do than when I sit down and plan something. So whether that is me planning my week on Monday morning or me sitting down and planning something like AcWriMo, I truly believe in all of my capabilities and power when I sit down and plan. And the good news is that that means that I do believe that I can do things and that I'm capable and I'm powerful. The tough stuff is that sometimes I plan like I'm a superhero who has unlimited resources and I'm not. And the tool that in the last couple of years has really helped me not be in that trap quite so frequently is to do something called a good, better, best goal spread. I've talked about this on my podcast. I have a blog post about it because I think that it can be really, really useful for some of us who tend to be a little all or nothing thinkers. So lots of people will sit down and write an AcWriMo goal and plan that's like, okay, I am going to finish this article this month. And I love that for you. I hope that you finish this article this month. But if that's a really big goal, and it's 50-50 whether you'll get there or not through factors of your own control and things that are completely outside of it, then it can be a little bit dispiriting, if not demoralizing, to have that goal and not reach it. So, a good, better, best spread for your goals has you set in advance a range of things that you're going to be happy with as an outcome. So, your best case scenario might be to finish that article, but maybe a better case scenario would be one step down from that would be that you have a really solid draft that's out to your advisor for their feedback. And maybe a baseline goal or a good goal would be that you have a really solid draft. Um, your goals can be as expansive or as focused as you want them to be. But I would love for everybody, if you want to in the chat, to share what their sort of goals are, whether you have a good, better, best spread, whether you have one goal that you're breaking down into parts. But I really encourage you to define in advance a range of things that you're going to feel good about. And as you are thinking about that goal, I'm going to take a sip of water and then we will move on to the next sort of prompt in the planning process. Okay, so you have your goal, hopefully multiple. You have multiple goals in a range that you're going to feel good about. The next step, I think, is to focus on an action, a habit, or a tool that you're going to use this month to help support that goal. And so by that, I mean, say your goal is to finish that journal article. Great. How is that going to translate into daily or consistent behavior? Are you going to sit down for at least one POM before you start your teaching for the day? Are you going to schedule time to work together with friends online or in the community or in the library? Are you going to make sure that you get out and take a walk every morning? Because when you do that, you have a lot more momentum during the day and it really helps your brain. Are you going to aim for 100 Pomodoros over the course of the month? An awesome, exciting goal that it doesn't really matter how many you do a day, but you're aiming for 100. The reason that I like this prompt, what are you going to do action or behavior wise, is because it makes it a little bit more concrete. You might be a little bit like me and be like, okay, on November 1st, I say I'm going to finish this article. And then it's November 7th. And you're like, it's okay. I still have 23 days. I can do it. And then it's November 21st. And you're like, okay, 9 more days. I can do it. Having a daily action that you're focused on or a consistent action that you're focused on if everyday rhythms aren't really accessible for you. And of course, I mean every day that you're working. I don't encourage people to necessarily sprint the whole month. I do think weekends off are important, even if your weekends are on different days. At least some downtime is really good. But if you have a focus on a daily action or a consistent action that you're going to be doing or a tool that you're going to be using, then it's a little bit easier to spread some of that work out where you're like, okay, I'm trying for 2 POMs today. And if I do 2 POMs on the first and 2 POMs on the second and 2 POMs on the third, then that is 6 POMs that I've already done working toward this particular goal. And it might feel a little bit more concrete, especially in the beginning of the month. So I do encourage you, like I'm encouraging here, Vincent the cat, to pick a daily committed action or a consistent committed action that you're going to use in conjunction with that goal. People in the chat are sharing that they are going to maybe use daily FocusMate sessions, which I love. If you've never experienced those before, focusmate.com is a really cool place where you can sign up. You sign up to co-work with people with your videos on, but often your sound off. You get a certain number of free ones per month. I also host co-working sessions in my community on every weekday, and lots of people host them on the weekends as well. So if you are just joining us, I'm really excited to have you here. But we've been talking about splitting up our goals into a range where we can define things. We're just finishing up this section where we're talking about daily committed actions. And the next prompt that I would love for you to add to your planning process is to think about what you're going to do over the course of this month to support your human self. On Tuesday, I just put out a podcast episode about planning for a burst of work. And that is available on all podcast networks that you can find it. It's a nice, short and sweet, I think it's like 10 or 11 minutes about planning. But one of the things that I say in that episode is that if you're planning for 100% effort on a project, an intellectual project, thinking about spending at least half that much energy, if not equal amounts of energy, supporting your human self can be really, really helpful. Because if you are doing nothing else this couple of weeks except for amping up the amount of work, you're more likely to get tired more quickly. You're more likely to burn out more quickly. You're more likely to kind of get into a cycle where you push really hard and you crash really hard. And that's not necessarily a problem. I know lots of people who are super effective in a push and rest cycle, but there's a difference between I push for 2 days and then I consciously rest for one, and pushing really hard for 8 days and then crashing for 6. So I would love to know, or to have you spend a little bit of time in your journal, in your workbook for planning, to identify the things that are going to support you as a human for the next month. Are you going to commit to signing up for one yoga class for every day that you work? This was always my go-to when I was a PhD student. I was never in my yoga classes more than when I was focused and really in a high volume output production mode of my PhD. Sometimes it felt like I was spending equivalent amounts of time on my mat and at my desk. And part of that was because the more I went to yoga, the more I got a break, the more I rested, the more I let my brain sort of chew on the things that it needed to chew on. And I got to move my body a little bit too, which is outstanding for my nervous system and cardiovascular system. You might want to focus some of your effort on preparing meals ahead of time. Meal prep is something that I personally find really challenging, but I do know that when I can get myself to do it, having things that I can reach for in my fridge that feel good, that are easy, make it a lot less likely that I'm going to stand in my pantry and have Fritos out of the bag for lunch. There's no judgment about me having Fritos out of the bag for lunch. Sometimes it's exactly what the soul needs. But more often, what my body needs is a balanced meal of protein and some nutrients. And only some of those things come in a bag of Fritos that I eat standing up in between meetings. So maybe you want to focus on keeping your water intake up, or getting enough sleep. Or maybe you know that breaks with friends where you think about anything but work are going to be great. So maybe you really schedule a couple of extra D&D sessions, or a couple of extra trips to the movies, or time out with friends. I really encourage you to say, okay, yes, I'm spending a lot of time and mental energy thinking about how I'm going to plan this project. I want to spend at least some of that energy thinking about how I'm going to support myself as a human, because it's going to make it more likely that you make it the whole month, and a lot less likely that you crash and sort of abandon and avoid. Last but not least, and I'm keeping this short because it's busy and I want to send you off to your AcWriMo goals as quickly as I can, and not just because Vincent thinks that we should be snuggling right now. But the last step is to think about what kinds of things you're going to do that will add a little bit of fun into your month. Sometimes I call this brain sparkle. I am a firm believer in incorporating fun, curiosity, a little bit of pleasure inside of really intense work pushes, or even moderately intense work pushes, or just any time at all. I'm a big believer in it. So, thinking about what kinds of things make your brain go, "Ooh, I like that." It's different for everybody because everybody has a different brain. So, for me, one of the things that I find more stimulating than almost anything else is reading really good fiction books that I get from the library. So the other day, I went through my library app and I downloaded 5 or 6 new books that are all set and ready to go on my Kindle for my library. Shout out to the Libby app, where I know that I have some easy things that are going to help keep me stimulated. Maybe for you, it is joining a journal article club because you know that it really helps you to talk about the literature the way you used to in seminar classes. Maybe your brain sparkle is going out every day and trying to find the most beautiful fall leaf that you possibly can, which gets you outside and gets you noticing beauty. I also am making an effort to really dump some pleasure into my workspace. So I have a bed for the cats, which obviously has encouraged them to feel very comfortable joining me live on screen, but is also a really great thing. I can hear them purring and snoring throughout the day. I added a whole bunch of candles to my desk that I forgot that I had, and it feels really nice to light them. I am using my best pen and a notebook that I had set aside for a special occasion. Maybe you want to get out your favorite coffee mug or buy a box of your favorite tea, anything to add in a little bit of pleasure. I would love to hear what other people are doing to add pleasure or brain sparkle in the chat if you'd like to. But I leave you now that we've kind of had our 4 extra prompts, defining a goal spread, thinking about daily committed actions, thinking about supporting our human self, and thinking about adding in a little bit of fun and pleasure. I leave you with this tiny little sermon. I don't know how else to say it. But there can be so much excitement at the beginning of a month like AcWriMo. There can be so much that feels exciting. Like I said in the beginning, I am so self-confident when I plan. I love to push myself. I love that feeling of a hard workout. I love that feeling of getting something done. It's so satisfying for me. But I also can be one of those people who starts off really strong and gets really excited, and then life starts to slip in. I get a little bit of a cold, or I sleep in that day and I don't do my workout as I planned, or I get scrambled behind, or something lands in my inbox that demands my attention, or the 1,000,000,000 other things. And that's not even to mention the conditions of the world that we're all living through right now. I know that I have had to take a lot of extra time in the last couple of weeks to care for myself, to read the news, to stay informed, to call my representatives, because there's a lot happening in the world besides my academic project. But the world will probably throw you some unexpected curveballs, little, big, throughout this month. I really encourage you to write yourself a permission slip right here, right now, that you can restart your AcWriMo at any time that you need to. So, say you're watching this and it's November 4th, and your life was completely bananas until you got to the weekend of the first thing of AcWriMo. I am here from the past to tell you in the future that this is a perfect time to start AcWriMo, that you are not missing a thing by having a November 5th start date rather than a November 1st. If you are drifting along on November 13th and you've done it sort of 25% and you're felt a little bit okay, but you also feel a lot of kind of like guilt and heaviness and stickiness about the fact that you didn't fully commit, then I hope that this voice from the past can surface in your brain a little bit and say, now is a perfect time to restart. Because anything that you get done this month, which historically is a full, crowded, busy, difficult month for most academics, anything you get done this month is going to move you forward. Any tool that you try that works well for you is going to be in your toolbox forevermore. Any bit of self-confidence that you develop by figuring out that you can write in shorter bursts, or you can write on the days that you teach, or you can write in a coffee shop when you thought you couldn't. Anything that you find out about yourself this month will be with you forevermore. So give yourself the grace and the compassion, even when it's hard. And this is a message that I need as much as anyone, that you get to restart this month whenever you want to, whether that means that you restart it 3 times a day, like I tend to do. And there will be a blog post coming out this month about the reset process and how I use it for myself during my work days. But no, you have unlimited restarts granted from me, and I am the sovereign ruler of this particular corner of AcWriMo land. So there's no permission slip higher than the one I'm giving you right now, to let yourself keep trying, even if it doesn't work, because anything that you do, you learn from this month, and anything that you learn gets to stay with you forever. So I am going to pause now and ask if there are any questions for those of you who are joining us live about AcWriMo. I would love to hear what you're focusing on, and just know that I am here rooting you on. All of our special guests are here ready to support you, and I cannot wait to see what we get done this month. All right. Okay, finishing a book while on sabbatical. That sounds like a great goal, and I am really excited about it. I have not actually, like the shoemaker's children, I have not actually done my own AcWriMo planning. AcWriMo, the institution, is my academic project for the month. But I have a walk with a friend planned later today. I've got lots of them on the calendar, and that's what I'm doing to balance out all of the extra effort. Ooh, so we've got some articles that are coming out of work that's previously been written. That sounds so great. Please know that I am imminently reachable. You can always email me. You can send me messages on the various social platforms, although I don't always check those as frequently as I do my inbox. So if you have any questions, please know that I am here, and ready and excited to support you. I love the goals that are coming in the chat about starting a new article and focusing on rebuilding habits after a very long chronic health flare. Yes, I too have been working through some kind of health complications, so I am right here in the rebuilding club with you. I can't wait to see where we all go this weekend, or this weekend, sure, but mostly this whole month. So thank you so much for joining. I'm going to end this live stream to keep this video short and reasonable, but please check out all of the videos on this channel, the links in all of your emails, and I can't wait to AcWriMo with you this month. See you soon.